Hello and welcome to another video here on Powerdojo. In today's episode, we're going to have a look at a visualization called play axis. Before our demo, let's have a look at our dataset. The dataset that we're going to use is what you see on your screen. It's an Excel file in which I have listed the top 5 countries that finished with the most gold medals in the recently concluded Olympics. And we have 16 other columns in which we can see what was their gold medal tally on that particular day. For instance, United States on 27th of July they had 1 gold medal, whereas they finished on 40 gold medals on 11th of August, which was the last day of the Olympics. Now let's switch back to Power BI. Now before we look into the play axis visual, the play axis can be used as a feature in the scatter chart visualization, which is one of our standard visualizations. On this page, we already have a scatter chart built. And if we were to have a look at this visualization, we'll see there's a feature or a field called play axis. I have populated that field with the date. Now, what does this feature lets you do is you can check the progression of the gold medal count for these countries over time. So for instance, right now what you can see on the scatter plot is the tally on 27th of July. Now at the bottom left you can see there's this play button that I can click on. You'll see the scatter plot now changes dynamically as per the date. So now you can see on 11th of August we had France ending with 16, whereas we have China and United States who both finished on 40. That's the reason we only see 4 bubbles rather than 5. And not only that, we can use the slider on this play axis to move it and lock it on the day that we want. For instance, on 5th of August, we can see only 3 bubbles because 2 other countries were having the same tally as, let's say, China or Australia. On 31st of July, we had 4 countries, 4 bubbles, and so on. So this is a pretty cool feature that we can use, but unfortunately it is only available for your scatter plot or scatter chart visualization. Having said that, the play axis visual can be imported into our Power BI report by clicking on these 3 dots at the bottom, get more visuals, click on get more visuals. Now Power BI will either prompt you to connect with your work or school ID in order to access this page where you can import Power BI visuals. Now if I had to search for play axis visual over here, this visualization appears. If we were to click on it, you'll see the description of the play axis, the dynamic slicer, and how we can use it. So if you want to add it into your Power BI report, you can only click on add. Now since we have already added the play axis visual in our report, we'll be using it directly. So this is the icon that will help you create a play axis visual. Now if I were to click on this play axis visual, it will prompt me to either select or drag fields to populate this visual. So we will populate it with our date field. And now you can see this play axis visual with its different icons that appear. Now you need to make sure that the field that we have selected, which is a date field, should not be on date hierarchy, but should be taking in date. Here we can reduce the size of this play axis. Now, although we already have a play axis feature to our scatter plot, but we can still use this play axis visual in which it interacts with the other visual on that page. So now you can see the dates are dynamically changing. Now you might be saying that, okay, we can already do that with our play axis feature for the scatter plot visual. But in this case, the play axis visual, it can be applied to other visuals as well. We are not only restricted with scatter plot. So for instance, I have created different visuals on the second, third, and fourth page. For instance, in the second page, you will see a column chart of the eventual medal tally of the five countries that finished with the most gold medals in the Olympics. For instance, if I have to add one more time, the play axis, I populated with the date field, change it to date over here. Now, if I have to click on play again, you see the column chart in itself changes dynamically, showing us the evaluation or showing us the trend by which these five countries ended up with their eventual medal tally, gold medal tally in the Olympics. Not only that, for instance, I can pause it on, let's say, July 31st, and to continue, and pause it on, let's say, August 3rd. So this play axis visual, it lets you pause or even stop or rewind or take it forward depending on the selection that you make on your play axis visual. And not only that, right now you can see that the interaction between the visuals is of highlight. What does highlight mean? That right now the column chart, it is already showing us what will be the eventual medal tally at the end of 16 days for these five countries, and it's highlighting how many gold medals each country were on Saturday, August 3rd. So this is what we call highlighting. Now, if needed, we can change the interactions between this visual as well by going in the format tab and change the edit interactions between visuals. So right now you'll see the highlight option has been selected. So now if we were to click on filter, we'll see we do not see the eventual medal tally of all the five countries at the end of 16 days, but we only see what was the medal tally on August 3rd. So this is the difference between filter and highlight. I have already made a different video on visual interactions. Let's see what happens if I do click on play. You'll see you're not seeing the eventual medal tally, but we are seeing only the filtered values for that particular day. I'll pause this. I've made few other visuals. For instance, over here we have a pie chart of the same medal count. I'll show you how we can use the play axis over here. I'll add the date field, choose date. Let's see what play axis lets us do right now. Once again, the interaction is of highlight. So you will see the eventual or the total count at the end of day 16, but you will see how the progression of the medals as well. Now, if we were to change this to filter, it will be a tad different. The visual will be changing dynamically, which is a bit difficult to comprehend. So if I had to click on highlight, you'll see that it is much more easier to comprehend, much more easier to follow. So play axis visual is something which you can use for analyzing your data and let your clients play around with the data field that has been chosen. I have one more visual that we can use a play axis for, and drag the data field over here. This time it's a bar chart. You see, you can see the progression of all these five countries, the number of gold medals they won on that particular day. If needed, I can change it to filter. This time around, it makes more sense because it's not a pie chart which keeps on changing and difficult to follow. But this time we can see the evolution or the rankings changing for the 5 countries. And not only that, play axis lets you change the animation settings as well right now. So you can see the step or the frequency of the visual changing dynamically has been set to 1 second. So if needed, I can change it to, let's say, 3000 milliseconds, which is 3 seconds. So now if I have to click on, let's say, play axis over here, you'll see it will change after 3 seconds. 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, like that. I'll pause it, and there are a few other properties that we can change as well. So right now you can see the play axis visual is black in color, which is the default color. If needed, we can change the color of each button, which is, I believe, a pretty cool feature to use. So for instance, if you don't want the pause button to be blue in color, we can, let's say, choose it to red like this. And this is a pretty cool feature, and can disable the caption if needed. So you see the date field, which is the caption, can be removed as well. And one might say that it is restricted to the time field, not necessarily. For instance, just imagine if we were to have another column in our data set in which we have categorized all these gold medals won by the 5 countries depending on the discipline, the sport discipline. For instance, athletics or archery. We list all the sports discipline, and then we can, for instance, organize them, sort them in the alphabetical order. So first we'll have archery, and then we'll probably end with volleyball. And for each sport discipline, we can check what was the evaluation, what was the progression of gold medals for these 5 countries. So this is a cool feature that you can use in your Power BI report. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video.